Have you ever been outside of it in the yard, the woods, or on a hiking trail, and you get tired, so you look for a place to sit down, whether it's on a little patch of grass, a rock, or a log, then eventually feel something on your leg or your arm, and you feel pain? It means an ant bit you. Ants are everywhere, and they can be annoying at times, but do they actually do anything important? Or do they just bite you from time to time? Today, I will tell you all what ants contribute to the environment. I know ants are just small insects, and probably do not care for them, but they are actually do so much for us, even with how small they are. I'm a college student, which means you probably think that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I have done my research and gathered information from ecologists who are scientists who study the ecosystems and their organisms, and myrmecologists who are scientists who study ants. At the beginning of my research, I did not like ants at all because they bit me. But as I continued, I learned that these little creatures do so much. Ants help the ground or soil to be healthy and help plants as well. As I said before, ants help the ground or soil to be better for the plants, which helps other animals and humans. They perform soil aeration and help decomposition. Soil aeration is basically keeping the ground oxygenated so the plants can grow. These tunnels allows air and water to go through, whether it's rainwater or water from the hose, as you go in the garden, and it allows the air and water to go through the dirt and to moisturize it and give it oxygen so the plants can grow. In the article, The Effects of Ants' Nests on Soil Fertility and Plant Performance, a meta-analysis by Alejandro G. Fragi Brenner and Victoria Werner Kent, it states ants' nest shows higher nutrients and center than adjacent non-nest soil samples, which means parts of the ground with ants have more nutrients and are healthier for plants. Ants also help the ground by decomposing fruits, vegetables, and meats, which in return gives the ground nutrients, which it gives the plants nutrients to grow. Sure, vultures and worms do the same, but ants are smaller and carry parts of the food to other locations and break the food into smaller pieces, which helps decompose faster. Ants also help plants in more ways than one. For instance, they help spread seeds and even protect plants from other insects that eat them. After collecting the seeds from the plants, they bring it back to their home and they eat there. But they actually don't eat the seed itself. The seeds has this oil-rich appendage outside of the seeds called elaiosomes, which are these yellow, white appendages outside. They leave the seeds on the side, and and eventually grows into an actual plant from inside the tunnel up to the surface above the ground. Ecologist Rohit Sagidaranan and Radhika Ventakasan stated in their article, ants carry elaiosome bearing seeds to their nest, thus causing seed displacement. The elaiosome is removed, fed to the larva, and the seed is discarded into a refuse pile inside or outside of the nest. Not all ants eat leaves like the leafcutter ant, but most actually eat other sources of food like bugs and other small animals. Animals like beetles, ladybugs, flies, slugs, moths, and other caterpillars that eat plants, but thankfully, like spiders, ants will tend to eat those bugs as well. In other words, ants, if they're not leafcutter ants, are great for your garden. In an article, Getting Antsy, Ants in the Garden by George and Becky Lohmiller, it states, many ants are predators and feed on insects that attack lawns and gardens. And in the process of gathering food, they often pollinate flowers and distribute seeds. Ants are very important creatures that help out the soil to be healthy for plants to grow, help decompose waste, spread seeds, and even act as a nature's post pest control. All these little things help the environment to thrive little by little. They are kind of like a bee, a spider, and a worm all into one, but they are small and large in numbers. Although you think of ants as these little insects that bite you from time to time, they actually do a lot for the ground, plants, and keep them healthy and safe. Next time, before you think of getting rid of your ants from your property, think of how much good they are doing in your yard or garden. Thank you for listening to my speech. Have a great rest of your day. Mm. This is my ID, and these are my note cards.